Hello, my fellow Exeter Township residents. This is David Hughes. I want to present to you some interesting information that I put together today, looking at the last 4 years and what's culminated into actually a financial disaster of large, gigantic proportions. You'll see it as I show the last 4 years to you. We're going to do 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. This debacle really started at about 2016. Other things were culminating before that, but 2016 is where Lisa Vanderlane came onto the board and immediately was the vice chairman. And with her dominant personality, she just took over. She took over. Also, by the end of 2016, she had nominated John Cusatus. He was not voted on. He was nominated to replace someone, and so he was on the board in 2016, which was also the beginning of the end for us. And at the same time, we had a new township manager, John Granger, with our longtime manager leaving in 2015. They finally found John Granger. John Granger was a manager who was almost destroyed Talamansa Township, where he misappropriated, I think it was $2.7 million, and he was shown the door down there. It took them at least 2 or 3 years to recover from that. But he became our town manager in 2016. And this was the start of it. It was not an auspicious moment for us in 2016, where as we moved into 2017, we see that David Speece shows up on our radar, and he becomes the Reading Country Club general manager. And there's a lot of things that happened in 2017, which is the stepping stone to the really bad years of 2018 and 2019. Mr. Speece becomes the general manager. Also, there appears in the listing a Ramsey Rainier, who is designated as assistant manager, but I also saw some information where he was the treasurer. And during this year is when the books, we find out from a forensic audit the following year, that the books and records disappeared. They weren't available for the operations of the golf course or the operations of the food and beverage business. To this day, we still do not know what happened with those books and records. But we do know that David Speece was hired as the general manager for that year. He was paid $2,000 a month, and he worked it from January to December, at which time where he was elected supervisor, and he took a seat in 2018. And you'll see in 2018 is the pivotal year. We have some changes in supervisors, but I also circled 2018 because it is a pivotal point in our history for a number of reasons. We have a new supervisor, Vinnie Bianconi, and Robert Ducher. Cusatus came in 2016, but this is where he really came into his own. He started feeling really comfortable and started causing enormous amounts of problems. But we can look at the numbers. They really tell the story. Because in 2017, our sewer plant had net income of $4,113,000. But in 2018, that had dropped to $2,849,000. So we had about a $1.3 million decrease in net income for the sewer. The Reading Country Club incurred even more significant decreases. 2016, the net income was $346,500. While being managed by David Speece, it dropped to $38,225. And finally, in 2018, where we're not sure who was managing it, we believe John Granger was. He was calling all the shots. And we lost just under $800,000 in net income for 2018. But this is where it starts. It gets really bad because in 2018, you also note under John Granger's name as sewer manager, he brought in Ed Gillette and EEMA. That was Ed Gillette's company. Mr. Granger knew Gillette for many years, probably about 25 years. He was brought in because the sewer pumps failed and we discharged millions of gallons of untreated sewage into the Schuylkill River. And we know in 2016 there were discussions and meetings. We have the video where they talk about the need to replace the pumps, and it would cost $1 million to do that. But they decided to defer maintenance on this, and subsequently in 2018 they failed, and the sewage went into the river. And this was the excuse that Mr. Granger needed to hire his buddy Ed Gillette and EEMA. So you will see as we go into 2019 how this affects our financial situation, and it's not good. So we go into 2019, and we also have a change in the board. Jeff Anderton comes on board, replaces Lisa Vanderlane, who resigns in March, and also Aaron O'Donnell, who replaces Robin Ducher. So we have an open revolving door with supervisors, and all of them never elected. They're nominated by the powers that be. And if you look at our numbers, you can see that in 2019, our sewer experience continues to decline. $4 million in 2017, $2.8 million in 2018 in net income, and then finally in 2019, a loss of $2 million. It swings from $2.8 million to positive net income to $2 million net income loss. So almost a $5 million swing. And remember, we brought in EEMA and Ed Gillette. They fired all of our employees that knew how to run the plant, and they brought in their own people. And we have memos that tell us from their manager that they don't know what they're doing. They complain that we fired everybody who knew what to do, and they don't have anyone in their employment who knows how to run the plant. But we know that a lot of money, millions of dollars, exchanged hands between our community and EEMA. It was a huge, huge blunder. You can also look at the Reading Country Club. We continued to lose money. It decreased from $38,000 net income in 2017 to the $788,000 net income loss in 2018. And now in 2019, we see almost $1.6 million loss. And that does not include the $1,875,000 payoff to Viva for losing the lawsuit. So, and I think it's significant. I think you'll notice it that when you look at the totals for those 4 years, our sewer plant, even with the horrendous loss of $2 million in 2019 and a decrease in revenue, we still made $7 million in net income. And we also had a $7 million CD. So we had plenty of money. The cash flow was working. This net income, by the way, is the number after we service our debt on the sewer plant. So we were doing fine with it. We just had some supervisors that didn't do their job. And with the Running Country Club, although the total for the 4 years is just under $2 million loss, it's much worse than that because it doesn't include, again, the $1,875,000 payout to Viva, which was paid out from the proceeds of the sewer plant. So it's not reflected in the RCC's net income calculation. But we'll visit that, we'll adjust it, and I'll show you how much we actually lost in 2019. And it's a whopping $5,469,412. Yeah, it's awful red, isn't it? Well, we can thank a few people about it. You see the names of all the actors there. They all are responsible. No one in that list of names ever stopped and said, well, wait a minute. What about this? What about that? Or this doesn't seem right. They never questioned a thing that Granger and Vanderlane and Spies and Crusadus wanted to do. This $5,469,000 loss is just for 2019. So, and it doesn't include wasteful spending. Very, very wasteful spending. I won't even go into that for now, but I can assure you there's a lot of it. So why did this happen? Well, the supervisors. I mean, we didn't elect a lot of them. I mean, if you look at 2019, we didn't elect Vinnie Bianconi. We didn't elect Jeff Anderton. We didn't elect Aaron O'Donnell. So 3 of the 5 supervisors were never elected. They were nominated by David Spies and Lisa Vanderlane and John Crusadus. So they got to pick who they wanted to, and those people were, what do you call them, yes people? They just went along with whatever they wanted to do. And we had Granger, who had his own private limited liability corporation where he was a consultant for sewer plants, which no one knew until I discovered it. And he's working with Ed Gillette, and they're just billing us like you would not believe. I mean, I think in a contract for Gillette, we were paying him $170 an hour just to drive from his home somewhere down in Philly way to drive up here to the plant. How would you like to get paid $170 an hour to drive about an hour to work? So it was just an outrageous situation, and I blame the supervisors. But also, I think we have to blame John Granger. He was instrumental in this. He brought EEMA in. You'll see in 2016, if you look at the video, he's all for fixing the sewer plants, and then all of a sudden something changes. And that's a long story in itself. But what happened is the supervisors and our manager failed us. They just utterly failed us. And then we have EEMA, they were in it, John Granger's buddy, and they saw big dollars in their eyes, and they basically got the contract. I think it seems like John Granger said, tell me what you want, Mr. Gillette, and you have it. And that was it. And then finally, stupidity. Stupidity with the supervisors, with Granger, with EEMA, and we can't forget us, we the voters. We voted Vanderlane in, we voted Crusadus in, and we voted Spies in. Spies is the last one there. But we have people that he's brought in now. We voted for Gautier and Staub, and we were hoping that they would turn it around. But you'll find out in 2020, we have a mess still. Those numbers are not available, but they're not going to look good either. So $5,469,412 loss in 2019. That equates to about $608 for every resident in this town, every homeowner, every home in this township, about 9,000 homes. And I want you to note, you'll see my note there with the little square around it. The loss doesn't include the settlement of $1,875,000. So if you added the loss for the year which is $1,563,350 for the Reading Country Club, and add the $1,875,000, you have a loss of $3,842,346 in 2019 for the Reading Country Club alone. And you can see the red markers there. Now, if you want to add in 2018 loss for the Reading Country Club, well, then we're looking, as I've mentioned before, over $4 million in losses related to the Reading Country Club between 2018 and 2019. And before I end this dissertation, I want you to note that this year we have owned the Reading Country Club for 15 years. This December will be 4 years that the food and beverage and the banquet halls have been closed. That means we haven't operated the food and beverage and banquet business for 27% of the time we owned the country club. And you look at every one of those names, every one of those people are responsible for that loss. That's a tremendous amount of money, in my opinion, for our community. Our annual budget is about $12.8 million a year. So that's a big chunk of our annual budget. It's tremendous. And I think you need to really consider very carefully what you do with your vote on November 2nd. Because you better make it count, and we have to do better than what we've done recently. We don't have the 2020 numbers, but we know they're going to look bad as well. So if you have any questions, you can contact me at my website, which is exeterunited.com. If you see me in the neighborhood, don't be afraid to come up and talk to me. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I'm always at every meeting on Mondays, the second Monday and the fourth Monday of the month, with a prepared public comment if they let me speak. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know the numbers are sickening, but that is what they are. And I know that each one of the people here, each person named here, they hate me because I've exposed all of this. I put it together in a way that you can understand it, that it makes sense. It's basically the bottom line. And the bottom line for us is not good if we continue the way we're going. I'm the right guy for the time. I have the right skills. I can fix this. Vote for me on November 2nd. Thank you.